Hi, everyone. This is Marilyn Bradford, and I would like to welcome you to my Left Turn podcast. What is your left turn? Writing a blog, parenting in a different way, letting go of the old because you are aware of something greater. Left turns are choices we can all make. It's about a willingness to step into the unknown in any area of your life, to trust yourself, to risk creating or trying something new. It's about letting your true uniqueness shine. The greatest people who have lived, artists, statesmen, writers, explorers, musicians, have all been people willing to turn left. What capacities do you have that you have not acknowledged? What would your life and the world be like if you were willing to turn left? Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Left Turn podcast. I have an absolutely, truly amazing woman with me today, Carolyn Sinclair. Welcome, Carolyn.
Thank you very much, Mary.
And I love this part of the bio. Carolyn Sinclair looks pretty normal when you see her, but looks can be deceiving. She is a vibrating, joyful, expansive being who can change your world just by being in the same room. And I can do attest to that. She always ratchets up the joy vibe whenever she's
well, it takes one to know one, Marilyn.
Carolyn is trained in the uses of many access consciousness tools and techniques to facilitate change for herself, her family, her friends, clients, and colleagues. At present, her home base is in Winnipeg, Canada, but you might find her anywhere on the planet. An interesting bit of information about Carolyn is that for 35 years, she made her living as a professional classical and opera singer. Talk about good vibrations. My only complaint is that I've never heard her sing, which we might have to force that at some point.
Well, there's some recordings.
Okay. Maybe you can send me one, actually. That would be awesome.
Okay, I can do that. We're on Spotify and...
Okay, I'm not very good with technology, so...
Yeah, no, I can send you some.
A link would be great.
Thanks, Marilyn.
So I know you are a being who's created or chosen many left turns. What are some of the ones that really changed things for you or created greater for you, or just your favorites?
Oh, well, so many that it would take like a multiple podcasts, and I'm grateful for all of them, even though some of them seemed very difficult. So one of the most recent and truly left turn creating was I was living in Victoria with my husband, who was also a classical musician and very well known around the world. He specialized in early music, and we did some work together. But we had known each other since we were 20 and going to McGill University.
Wow.
In music. So we were friends for a long time, and then we were lovers, and then we got married. And he chose to pass away at the end of 2020. He had some health issues and hated his body at that point. And I knew that one of these days he wasn't going to wake up. I just knew.
Yeah.
So that awareness. I mean, it may not have seemed like a left turn, but that awareness that was his choice, and I could choose to be an allowance of it. That was a huge change for me.
Oh, yes, that's a big left turn. That willingness to be aware, not go into your head, and to choose allowance, and not what most people in this reality would choose.
Well, and for that, I'm so grateful for the Access Consciousness tools, because if I hadn't had those tools, I probably would have been, I don't know, a basket case. But I could really choose every time I thought of like being upset or sad, I could just choose gratitude. And it changed everything. I still miss him. It's not that a day,
Of course.
and I go into gratitude. I choose gratitude, and that makes it so much ease.
Yeah.
And part of that left turn, I continued to turn left, is that I left Victoria. We'd lived in Vancouver, Victoria for about 20 years. And I moved to Winnipeg. I grew up here, but I hadn't lived here since I was 20, and all my family are here. So I kept asking questions. I knew that I needed to change, and it was very light. So we used the tool of light and heavy. When I asked the question, if I choose this, what will my life be like in 50 years? 50 years. And it was very light to move to Winnipeg. So that was a big left turn. The weather here is inhospitable, shall we say.
Yes, I remember a picture of you bundled up. It was like 30 below or something.
Yeah. My first presents from family were all like snow pants and
Yeah.
cagoules and things like that. But so the left turn thing, it's so easy for us to judge and second guess and all that. But and so moving here was a bit of a shock. I first rented a big house, 3-bedroom house, because I thought I would just go from my Vancouver and Victoria style, and I'd have lots of classes and I'd have lots of clients and exchanges every week with 8 or 10 people. And well, that was not the case. So I eventually moved elsewhere, and I'm still very grateful if I have one person in an exchange. And that left turn has really caused me to like, what is it I would like to create in my life? What is it? I and then instead of going, oh gosh, Winnipeg is so dull and there's nobody here that's interested in what I do and all of that, I'm like, okay, I think it's up to me
That's
to,
a left turn in and of itself, not
to
blaming
create,
external circumstances.
yeah, to create things.
Yeah.
And I have, and also in not to judge myself, right? And I'm not doing, am I just like getting old and I'm just like boring and I'm not creating blah, 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 all that stuff that we judge. So clearing all that, I get that I needed that time to change, I guess, to rearrange things. I mean, really, yes, Michael was my husband, but he had also been a huge part of my life
Yeah.
for 40 some years. I know Marilyn and I don't look as old as we are, but
That's the access tools.
that is the access tools. And so that chunk of my life, that person who co-created life with me,
Yes.
was no longer there, physically anyway. And so I get that I needed some of that time, and that I needed to be here in Winnipeg to receive the caring of my family.
Yes.
Now that may be unknown to many of you, the caring of your family, but I do have a very caring family, and I am so grateful. And
And you chose that.
I chose it.
Yeah.
I chose it. And like catching frogs every morning with my 4-year-old grandnephew, like just fun things like that. And I get that I required that. And now I can like complete this left turn or enhance it and go, okay, I'm ready to create again.
Cool.
Am I talking too much?
No, that's the idea. You're supposed to be talking.
Okay.
This is
So
about you.
yeah, so it's that also that ebb and flow idea. You don't
Mm,
have to be full on 100% of the time.
right.
And and so I've been recognizing that and not judging myself as much and creating more. And if that means there's only 2 people in a bars class,
Mhm.
that's still really exciting for Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And there are now 2 more bars facilitators in this part of the province.
Uh-huh.
And that is very exciting.
It
And
is, because who knows who they're connecting with? It's that
exactly,
whole
yeah,
seed, you know, the dandelion seed, the
yeah. And
spreading
and the patience
and the
it
patience.
requires. But truly, in this last 3 weeks, I facilitated a bars class with a brand new person, and the brand new facilitator facilitated a class with 2 brand new people, and it was in Spanish. And so things are changing.
Yes.
And I'm hosting the Global Bars class in a week and a half, and I already have 1 brand new person taking the class. She doesn't know it. She's so excited and
Mhm.
taking the class. So things are changing because I chose.
Yes. Yes.
And that is the essence of every left turn is choice.
And
Like,
trust yourself to know. That's
yeah,
huge, I think, I find. When people make left turns that the culture or the family or the spouse or friends don't support, um, it's because they trust themselves.
yeah. And that I was talking to somebody, I did a relationship done different beginning class last night. People were asking questions, and I had a relationship for a few years when I was, 19, 20,
Mhm.
and um, it was like he wasn't nice to me, but I
Mhm.
was infatuated. And we were even going to get married. And there came a day where I literally could not go through with it. My
Wow.
whole being and energy just went, no. So yes, trusting myself, but that was the universe saying, nope.
Right.
So, I was in my early 20s and so it's almost like every left turn I've taken, and, you know, nobody thought I was making a good choice. And so it didn't matter what anybody thought.
Right. And that's such a critical step to actually realize that it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks.
Yeah.
It's not their life and they don't know.
Yeah. And I'm very grateful for the family I chose, because it's not that my parents were um, uninterested. They were very supportive, but in a way like, well, you can do what you want, dear. You had to be a good person.
Right. Of course. We have to be good for.
But we just want you to be happy.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
Yeah. So, and they didn't like that I was alone. But being a classical singer, you're alone a lot of the time. You
I
gotta,
wanted to ask you more about that, what that world was like and were there left turns there? And it's fascinating. I know nothing about that world.
yeah. So I always liked music, and I took different instruments, and then I was in the church choir, and the conductor said, you should take singing lessons. So I did, and I applied to McGill University for voice performance, and they took 1, maybe 2 people a year, and I got in and moved to Montreal, which was a big left turn for a little Winnipeg girl who didn't
In her
really
snowsuit.
who didn't really speak French very well. And even the choices there about, because it is not, every day is different.
Yes.
And if you don't learn to practice, and that's relying on yourself, you got to
Yes.
learn the stuff, you got to learn the music, you got to get it to a place where you can walk out on stage and it's in your head and nothing's going to dislodge it. And that's what we talk about, the quantum wavelength, right?
Mhm.
That's what singing us.
Oh, wow.
The singing that I did, we call it like the format ring. It really is your whole body doing it. And
Wow.
and it was like walking on stage and being the quantum wavelength, or yeah.
Mhm.
And so I recommend, if none of you have ever gone to a symphony concert, go. Like classical music, maybe with a solo violinist.
Mhm.
Can't always guarantee the singer is that great. And just be in that energy.
Yeah.
And so I am so grateful for all the choices that I've made. And yeah, I could have chosen some differently, and I wouldn't be who I am now. And
That's true.
I'm happy. I miss my husband, and I'm me, and I'm good with me. And I have a wonderful cat. If anybody would like him, he is wonderful. But he's a little bit of a impediment to more travel. And I live in a fantastic, very European style, little wee tiny apartment building in a beautiful area on the banks of a river. And I'm finding the good restaurants here.
Asking them to actualize.
Uh, and yeah, so I guess I've never been afraid of big choices, big changes. I moved to England when I was 25, 24, 23, something. And
What's that about? That sounds exciting.
well, that was for that boyfriend.
Oh, that was for that boyfriend. Okay.
And my excuse was that I was going to study singing with a famous singer in London at the Barbican. And that was a disaster.
Oh. Things don't always work out the way we think they're going to, particularly if
No,
we don't ask questions.
yeah, exactly. That was before I really knew about questions. And that, like, imagine, and I'm still grateful. He left his wife for me, and he wanted me to go to Mexico with him and all that sort of thing. And there's bits of me are like, no, you can't, no, like, I was following the energy. I called it my gut,
Uh-huh.
but it was a little messy. Oh, well,
Oh, well.
yeah, can you do? I guess I've been, getting better at, or I was pretty good at, oh, well.
Yes. And we can see the gift in things that are messy too. We don't have to create that again.
Yeah. Well, and I used to say to my mother, because I remember being, sobbing about something or other. And, she was very good at not telling me what to do, even to the point of, well, dear, I think and she would cover her mouth. But she would, hug me when I was crying or anything. And I remember saying to her, oh, well, I need all this emotion. I need to understand it if I'm going to sing opera.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's really seeing the gift.
Well, I don't know about that, but I think I was trying to say that, yes, I've had love affairs, even though I shouldn't have had, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
oh well.
Oh, well. Yeah. No, I'm grateful for all the choices and this big left turn of coming to Winnipeg,
Mhm.
which is smack dab in the center of Canada, and you know, like a 10-hour drive from Minneapolis, which is the closest large city. It's really
Wow.
and there's space here.
Hmm.
It's the prairies,
Hmm.
and you can see forever. And yes, I miss the mountains, and I'm also getting the space and calm and hope
Hmm.
when you can see everywhere, when you
Hmm.
can see forever,
Hmm.
and fun playing with the little kids. Oh my gosh. I had 2 Thanksgiving dinners this past weekend. It was Canadian Thanksgiving.
Right.
And the 4-year-old and the 2-year-old are from different nephews, but the four they play so well together, but the 4-year-old is teaching the 2-year-old things. Like, well, if you want to use the garbage, you have to have strong toes. Or put your shoes on, and the 2-year-old goes and gets his shoes, and he comes back and he can open the garbage. So, I mean, the joy in those silly things,
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
have to live with them. I can say goodbye and, their parents
Yeah.
deal with that. But that I am so grateful for. And that's part of this left turn.
Yes. Chasing joy in a good way
Yeah. Yeah. And laughing.
and laughing and having fun. And
Yeah. I mean, my sisters think what I do is totally bad, but it doesn't matter in our interactions.
right.
It's just not there. And this is another access tool. I make everything I do infinite, so they
Mhm.
can't even really see it. But they are there, whatever the support, and we eat and laugh.
That's so lovely, Caroline.
Yeah,
Really.
I really, and so, when I was making myself wrong for moving to Winnipeg, I, I get that this is big contribution to me and something that I required.
Yes. And a contribution to them too.
Yeah. Yeah. I know they think it's totally crazy that things don't bother me.
Well, you're setting an example.
Yeah. Well, and one of the access tools that's very mainstream that you can use with someone if they're like, oh, they go on and on about something, you can say, well, I wonder what else is possible here.
What else could you choose?
Oh, what else is possible? And yeah, so I'm grateful. And who knows what my next left turn will be.
Yes.
I actually signed a year lease for this apartment. I haven't done that for a long time.
Well, thank you so much, Caroline. This was just a, a joy. Just for
Well,
you. It was really lovely. I
thank
appreciate
you, Marilyn. Thank you, Marilyn. That's what I feel when we get together and exchange something or other.
I hope to see you in person again soon.
Me too. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining this episode of Left Turn. I wonder what embracing left turns could create in your life. What magical possibilities might show up. Remember, when you choose left turns, you are joining a group of the most creative and brilliant people the world has ever known.